They're trying to ban body armor again. And of course, this time they're going to do it in a more sneaky fashion, so it's easier to sell to the masses, but we both know exactly what's going on here. This is in reference to H.R. 3247, which is a new bill that was introduced in the House by Grace Meng, who's a Democrat from New York. And the whole goal of this bill is to prohibit the purchase, ownership, or possession of enhanced body armor by civilians, with exceptions, of course. And the exceptions is the part where things can easily go wrong because there's a lot of, logical thought processes in the exceptions, which might make more people think it's a reasonable thing to allow. And of course, it's not. So before we go into the details, I want to mention that Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel. And of course, thanks to them, I got everything I need when it comes to getting out on the range or getting body armor or anything else that these people don't want you to have. So big thanks to Midway USA. Now, what do they define enhanced body armor as? Because that's kind of how they're trying to sneak this one through, right? It's not all body armor. We're not trying to ban everything. We just want to ban enhanced body armor. Well, they define that as body armor, helmets, or shields with a ballistic resistance exceeding level 3 ratings from the NIJ. So in case you're not aware of what level 3 means, or if you're not very informed when it comes to body armor, level 3 will stop a 308, right? And then anything past that will stop things like M193, MA55, as well as 30-06 armor piercing. So all they're trying to say is they want to ban any body armor that's rifle rated. So you can see how now people are going to start thinking that's more reasonable, it's more, your most likely threat's going to be a pistol anyway. So why do people really need rifle rated body armor, right? So you can see how the slippery slope begins to develop itself. Now, what would be the punishment for having anything exceeding level 3 body armor? Well, of course, fines and up to 10 years of imprisonment. Seems reasonable, right? No big deal, but here's the thing, there are exceptions. And that's where the issues come from. What are the exceptions? Well, first off, they're going to have a grandfather clause. So, if you already own this stuff and you already went out and bought it and it's already in your possession, well, we're not going to take it from you. We're not going to make it a crime for you to have it, but you just can't get any more. You can't buy any more. And if you hadn't owned it from before the law was put into place, then you're not allowed to have any in your possession, right? So there's the reasonability, right? Oh, it's grandfathered in if you already have it. So those of you who already have it should be okay, right? And then they're also going to say, well, of course, this doesn't affect police, right? Because they might need rifle-rated body armor. You don't, but they might need it. And it doesn't affect the military, obviously, which, obviously they need it, but for the same reasons anybody else might. But besides that, one thing that's very frustrating is that even though they're covering the military with these reasonable exceptions, they're not covering veterans who make up a large portion of the population that buys and wears body armor because it's something that they were trained on and that they got used to, and they like to still have that level of ballistic protection that they were able to have when they were serving. So it's obviously unreasonable. But you can see why this bill, H.R. 3247, is so problematic, because people who know nothing about the subject will think it's reasonable. And that's how they push these things through. That's why you needed to know about it, and that's why you should probably try to get some body armor whenever you can. Because you know what? I assume this bill's probably not going to make it through. But I've been surprised before. And that also demonstrates they're going to just keep trying to push bills like this forward, no matter what. So the longer you wait on getting decent body armor, the longer you wait on trying to find a way to protect yourself from ballistic threats, well, you might find out you waited too long one day, and you might not be able to get it. And that's just the reality of how these people are trying to push things forward here in our pseudo-dystopian police state, right? So, listen, I work with Premier Body Armor. I'll have links down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. They make great stuff. They just released their Fortis line of body armor, which is a lot more affordable than the stuff that they used to produce, or they still produce, but they used to offer, because everything they offered before was all made in the USA. It was expensive and high quality, but a lot of people can't afford that price point. So the Fortis line is made overseas, not in China, which is great, of course, but it's made overseas with American materials, and then they ship it back over, and then they have it now available to you for a lot more of an affordable price point. So check them out. I'll put links down below. There may or may not be automatic discounts applied. I don't know how that works, but let's just say if you use the link, it does support the channel and I appreciate it. But either way, even if you don't go through those links for Premier Body Armor, just get something, right? It's good to have body armor. And in fact, I've got a video coming out here shortly that's going to demonstrate why it's a good idea to have even for basic functions like home defense. It doesn't have to be a two-way range for body armor to make sense. There's a lot of reasons why, you might need it even in just your standard, home invasion or SHTF type scenario where you're in your house and the only thing that's actually bulletproof in your house is this thing that I'm wearing right now. So HR 3247, 3247, or whatever you want to call it, hopefully dead on arrival. But I can't guarantee that. And this is what they're trying to do. And you can see how reasonable it is and why they could use that as leverage to push it further than previous bills that have been introduced in the same vein. So anything else you need from me, go to magicprepper.com. And besides that, that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.